We're going to be exploring the Tampa area by taking Interstate 275. Come on, let's go. Alright, today we're going to be doing Interstate 275, as 275 goes through the heart of both St. Petersburg and Tampa, which are popular tourist destinations here in the summertime to go to beaches and stuff. Also, I got to experience a little bit this highway when I was on it back in November of last year, around Thanksgiving time. So I definitely will be sharing my own pictures of this highway. Also, there are some pretty cool point of interest that I like to share, so let us get started with 275 in Tampa. But first, you're watching TheDerpHog, where I make highways content on all sorts of different topics. If you've been enjoying it, be sure to hit that like button. And if you've been really enjoying it, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you're notified on all future videos. And if you really want to help out the channel, become a member today, where you get custom cool emojis, early access to future videos, along with one free extra request per month. And if you don't want to become a member, you can always just pay $3 for a intersection request in future videos. Those highways will be listed down in the description below, and I'll make sure to shout you out when that video releases. So let's get on with the highway. As we can see here, this is a map of Interstate 275 in the Tampa area, as it starts at a junction with Interstate 75 and ends all the way up at Interstate 75 just north of Temple Terrace. And this colored portion is the park route that I've been on personally. So without any time out, northbound Interstate 275. So we begin here at the 275 and 75 junction just north of Bradenton, Florida, where 75 is Seaside north for Tampa, while we're Seaside north for St. Pete respectively, which I think are good choices here. And our first major junction on Interstate 275 is US Highway 41 here, as it just gets to southbound control cities of Palmetto and Bradenton, while northbound sadly does not get any love. Also, I will be rebooting the US 41 Southern video because I rewatched it and it's kind of outdated, and I only showed 3 mileage signs in the entire video. Plus, I do want to talk nicely about some certain places, so yeah. And also, this junction was requested by East Coast Reviews, so thank you for that request. And after that, we get a one-liner here with it's just St. Pete from 15 miles away, which I think is fine. But before we get onto the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, we have US Highway 19 merging into us, and 19 and Interstate 275 are now going to be concurrent with each other. And here we are on the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, and we get an awesome view of Tampa Bay here. And here we get a cool view of the Skyway Bridge here, and some more awesome views of Tampa Bay. And then once we've gone back onto the mainland, we have our first exit after a good 11 miles, and it is for Skyway Lane. And here we have a laundry list of exits because we're about to go through the heart of St. Pete with a bunch of different beaches listed. And here's where US 19 finally splits off from Interstate 275, as that will take you onto the Pinellas Bayway, as we're getting signed north for Tampa. On our way to Tampa, we meet with one of our siblings, Interstate 175, which is getting the control point of interest, Tropicana Field. Sadly, you cannot visit that place right now, as it is going to be currently renovated because sadly Hurricane Milton destroyed the place last October. So where am I going to get my orange juice flavored baseball now? And we meet another one of our siblings, Interstate 375. And personally, since 375 takes you over to the start of US 92, I think FDOT should also put 2 US 92 here along with 375, as we're still getting signed north for Tampa still. And here we meet with the road that will take you over to the St. Pete International Airport, along with it'll take you over to US 19, as we still get a pull through for Interstate 275 north for Tampa. And here we cross onto another bridge over Old Tampa Bay this time. And on the other side, we are now meeting with Florida Highway 60, which will take you over to the Tampa International Airport, as we still haven't made it to downtown yet. And this portion is the part of Interstate 275 that I have been on personally, so here's my own pictures of exit 40B and 41A for US 92 and Lewis Avenue respectively. Here's my own pictures of Interstate 275, meaning both the downtown exit and the start of Interstate 4, as 4 is getting signed east for Orlando, which is a good choice, as we're not getting signed north for Ocala, which I think is an alright choice because Ocala is still a pretty sizable city in the state of Florida, and plus Atlanta's kind of too far away from being signed on a 3-digit interstate anyways, so Ocala's still just fine. And a ways up the road when we meet with US Highway 92, and sadly FDOT is not telling us that 92 East will take you over to US 41. Here we meet with Florida Highway 580 here, which will take you over to Busch Gardens in Tampa, along with the suburb of Temple Terrace, which is where Florida College is located. And I managed to be on this exit last time I was on 275, and we can see that we're still getting signed north for Ocala respectively. And here's my own picture of meeting Florida Highway 582, which will take you over to USF here. And here's my own picture of Bears Avenue, our last major exit on 275 itself. I'm not really counting the meeting with Florida Highway 56 because it's just one long continuous ramp to the exit and not immediately at the junction. And then our next mileage time, we get Ocala as our primary from 85 miles away. And here we have our last exit for Florida Highway 56. And this kind of acts as a Interstate 85-95 junction exit because it's just one long continuous on-ramp to Florida Highway 56, which as you can see is far away from this ending junction. And we now just get to Interstate 75 north for Ocala still. And when we follow that ramp for Interstate 75, we do get an end Interstate 275 sign telling us that we're not going to move onto 75 proper. So with that, I'm turning around and doing southbound Interstate 275. So we'll begin here at the 75 and 275 junction, where 275 is the sign south for both airports along with Tampa and St. Pete, while 75 proper is getting signed for Naples. I mean, yeah, I kind of get that Naples is the last major city on this side of the Florida coast, but you should also probably throw in Miami on there because Miami is a very well-known city and is the southern terminus of Interstate 75. And then on 275 itself, our first major exit is for Bears Avenue. And we meet with Florida Highway 580 once again, and this time Temple Terrace is nowhere to be seen on this side of the exit. Now we're meeting with US Highway 92 once again, and it looks like this direction FDOT is telling us that US 92 will take you over to US 41. Also, we are now getting a pull-through for Tampa International Airport and St. Pete. And here we meet with Florida Highway 574, which is the road that will take you over to Raymond James Stadium, so that's cool. And we're finally meeting with Interstate 4 getting signed east for Orlando, and also meeting the downtown exit once again, and 275 is still getting the same control cities. Here we meet with US Highway 92 once again, as it'll just take you into downtown Tampa, and will also take you over to Raymond James Stadium. And here we meet with Florida Highway 60, which is the road that will take you over to Tampa International Airport, as we're finally getting signed solely south for just St. Petersburg itself. Also, Ryan Golden was at this junction not too long ago, and they wanted me to share this picture of the 275 control cities on Florida 60, so thank you for this picture. They were also on the bridge that would take you over to the St. Petersburg area and wanted me to share with this picture, so thank you again for this cool picture. And here we meet with Florida Highway 690, which is the road once again that will take you over to the St. Petersburg International Airport. And now we meet with Interstate 375, and this time it gets for Sundial and the pier, while we're now getting signed south for Bradenton, which is a very interesting choice. Here we meet with Interstate 175, which is getting signed for Tropicana Field once again, and we're still getting signed south for Bradenton. And here we meet with Florida Highway 682, and this is the road that will take you up to US 19 northbound because the US 19 and 275 junction is a Y junction. And we're now getting signed south for both the Sunshine Skyway and Bradenton. And skipping ahead onto the other side of the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, US 19 is splitting off from Interstate 275 as it's being signed for Palmetto and Bradenton. Well, that's actually US 41's controls because US 19 ends at US 41 just a couple miles south of this junction. While we're getting signed south for nothing. I mean, you could put Naples for us because that is, again, the last major city 75 will be passing through on the Gulf of America side of Florida. It is okay to sign on 275, but not on 75 proper. And our last major junction is US Highway 41 once again, getting signed for Palmetto and Bradenton, just like US 41. And here we end at Interstate 75, it's getting signed north for Tampa, which is a good choice. And again, that southbound control city should be Naples and Miami, not just Naples by itself. Also, what is FDOT doing here? Why do they have a 3-digit interstate shield for a 2-digit interstate? It just looks weird. And then when we take that 75 southbound ramp, we are now merging into Interstate 75 South, which will take you down to Naples and Miami respectively. So with that, we end Interstate 275 and we move on to the places I'll go. So these are all the places that I visit if I ever was on the rest of Interstate 275 or if I was ever on the highway again. I would like to visit downtown Tampa and St. Pete respectively, along with Trips Diner in Tampa, and I love to go by Raymond James Stadium and Tropicana Field, and I also like to visit Clearwater Aquarium, along with a go-kart place in Tampa itself, and finally I love to visit the beaches. If you have any other places that I should recommend visiting in the Tampa area, please let me know down in the comment section below. I love to check them out if I ever in Tampa again. So that ends Interstate 275 in the Tampa area. Thank you so much for watching this short episode on Interstate 275 in the Tampa area. Someday I'd like to travel the rest of this highway because it looks actually pretty cool down in the St. Petersburg area. Plus the Sunshine Skyway Bridge looks absolutely cool to drive on. So with that, here are my next few highways. If you have any intersection requests for any of these upcoming highways, please let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to shout you out once these highways release. Also, if you want to contribute to the AeroShield video, there is a forum down in the description below. I'll make sure to check that out so you can be shouted out once that video releases. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next week as we do Interstate 24.